It is Thursday, May 17th. Welcome to my podcast. It's been a while since I did one because I have been incredibly busy, but I wanted to talk about some of the things that I've been doing because now that it's warm and it's spring and summer, I can do so much more with my natural dyes and I'm super excited about it. So let's get started. Okay, let's talk about some of the featured items currently in my shop because I have put a number of naturally dyed items in my shop lately, in my Etsy shop, which is Pot of Coffee Knits on Etsy, and I want to showcase a few of those. So I have a lot of different colors right now. These are all naturally dyed in my shop currently, some bright ones. So let's start. I have a bunch of avocado dyed ones in my shop right now. And these ones, there's some that are really variegated and different shades. And I have them in sets that I have dyed them in. So you'll find some of those in sets in the shop. So those were dyed in the same dye pot. This one is dyed with avocado, and then it's got a little bit of iron added to it. It was a really light avocado bath, so it comes out to be kind of a gray color, like a light tawny color. This is also in my shop. These ones are kind of a tannish brown color. They have a little bit of variegation in there. This one I dyed with alkanet root, which I can honestly say I don't know if I'm gonna dye with alkanet root again. They came out beautiful, but I had to end up taking the pot outside because if anyone's ever dyed with alkanet root before, it stinks so incredibly bad. My kids thought it was the most disgusting smell they've ever smelled, and the whole house reeked. I had fans going, I had the windows open, and so I ended up taking the pot out to my husband's grill, which has a little burner on the side, and finishing it up out there. And sometimes with alkanet root you can get a purple color or brown. It depends on the root, it depends on the pH levels in your water, depends on a number of items, and mine ended up being more brown. So I was kind of disappointed that I didn't get the purple because I was looking for purple, but I think it turned out to be a really pretty brown color. So there's a couple of those in my shop too. I still have, these are onion skid dyed yarns, but I think they're really pretty, perfect for spring colors, and a really nice sunshiny yellow. There's two of those in the shop, and these ones are fingering weight. All the other ones I've showed you so far are actually a DK weight, and this really twisted yarn is from Does and Divas Dairy here in western Iowa, just across the river from Omaha where I live, and this is from her sheep that she has at her dairy, and it's like a hand spun. They're 200 yards each, and it's very woolly, and I love it. There's actually little particles still in some of the yarn. I don't know if you can see any of it or not, but it knits out really easily when you knit it. It just falls out, and they've all been thoroughly washed and everything. So so yeah, this one's the onion skin dyed, the sunshiny yellow one. This one is onion skin and madder root, so it kind of has an orangey peachy color to it with some reddish, orangish reddish throughout there. Really pretty ones. There's a couple of these. This is fingering weight. The ones that look like this are actually superwash, merino, and nylon fingering weight. So those are in there. Here's a couple madder roots. It doesn't show up as well, but it's really actually more of like a very rusty orange color. It's a really pretty one. This one is a really light buttery yellow. I'm trying to show it off to against the black. This I dyed in orange peels, and I was pleasantly surprised. It's a really nice springy yellow, and yeah, a really nice light one. I planted indigo seeds, and if I had some indigo, I actually thought about over dyeing it with some indigo, which indigo is blue, to see if I can't get like a green out of that, but right now it's in the shop, so if anybody buys it, it's a light yellow. And then my most recent one, which I'm super excited about, and I'm about to do another pot of it actually, is this really pretty olive green, very variegated. You can get little hints of yellow in here. This, I've been wanting to get green for a while. This is from Dandelions. These are from the flowers of the dandelions. My new pot has, which should be about the same color, but it might give me a little different variety of green. The new pot that I have is dandelion flowers and leaves, but this one was just the flowers, and we have a ton of dandelions in our yard. So the kids and I went out and we picked every dandelion that we saw and made a great big pot of dye, but this is the only one I dyed in it at the time because I wasn't sure how it would turn out, and so it was kind of my sample. But it actually comes out to a yellowish green color, more yellow than green, but by adding a little bit of iron modifier to it at the end of dyeing, it changes it to a green color. So I was really excited about this one. So this one is in my shop right now. This is the DK 100% wool blend and of different varieties of wool. The ones I'm about to dye are actually going to be 100% wool, but they're going to be a finer spun, and it's going to be a sport weight. So these are the highlighted ones, natural dyes. Like I said, there's a bunch of avocado dyed ones, but go check out my shop, my Etsy shop. It's Pot of Coffee Knits. Excuse me. And I'm trying to stock it up with a lot more natural dyes. There's still a bunch of my speckled yarn in there that I would love to give good homes so that I can start filling my shop with more of the natural dyed yarn. So go check it out, because I discounted a bunch of stuff with speckled dyes so I could hopefully get that sold so I can really work on my natural dyed, because now that it's spring, I'm loving being outside and finding things to dye with. So I'm experimenting a lot more right now. So yeah, those are the things in my shop right now. Some of the things, some of the highlighted ones. So go take a look. Dandelion bath with 2 skeins of yarn right now, and I'm going to do a third one. But I wanted to show you what it looks like just after it's soaked in alum for 24 hours, and then I did the dandelions today, the dandelion bath. And so this is what it looks like before I add the iron modifier at the end to turn it green. So it's actually a pretty bright yellow. It's hard to tell with the camera. It's actually a pretty bright yellow. So after this process, after it cools down a little bit, I'm going to put it in a mixture with iron and water mixed together, and then that will turn it to a nice green color. So I'll show you the end result when that's all done. The iron has been added, and the transformation from yellow to green has begun. So I usually let it sit in here for a little bit though, because I want it to really absorb all of that color and iron. finished my first batch of red onion skin dye, and I made a lot of it, so it's right here. But I don't feel like I extracted all of the dye out of the onion skins, so I'm doing a whole other batch, same amount of water. It should be a lighter batch, but I'm experimenting to see what colors I can get from the leftover onion skins. So I have a pot of that simmering on the stove again. So we're gonna experiment, see what we can get out of this, and then we'll start working on the yarn too. I love the long, slow process. I made my first batch of onion skin dye, the purple onion skin. It took me 3 days to do it because I would heat it up for like 3 hours, turn it off and let it sit for the rest of the day, then heat it up for another couple hours, and then turn off and let it sit. I just kept doing that until it was the color that I wanted. So I'm gonna kind of do that with this batch too. Same onion skins that have already been used for 3 days, being boiled, but I think I can get more color out of them. So I'm gonna try again. Okay, so now let's talk about some of the projects that I'm working on. This is one of my project bags that I hand sewed, and I haven't gotten very far, honestly. Life has kind of stalled since my last podcast because I plant a big garden. I plant a medicinal garden and a dye garden and a vegetable garden every year, and I've worked on that a lot. And we had a big party, a big family event for my oldest son who was confirmed. And so I've been working on that. We got all new siding on our house and a new roof and new gutters. And so we had guys here working on our house for like 2 weeks straight, trying to get that done before my son's big event. And so, and I've been working full time, and we're trying to, I homeschool my kids, and we're trying to kind of finish up the school year. So honestly, I have not done nearly as much on my knitting as I should have. I've been working mostly on one project anyways, even though I've got a bunch going, but one I've been working on. So I'll show that in a minute. But the first one I'm going to show you is my Hermione Everyday Sock. I have done nothing on it since my last podcast because I'm at a stopping point. And like I said in my last podcast, I've never done a sock before, and so I've never done like the heel before. So I got to the point where the heel is, and since I didn't know what to do next, I just kind of put it away for the time being and started working on other projects, then got busy. So I haven't revisited it, but I would like to figure out the heel so that I can revisit it, because I'm going to be going on some road trips coming up here soon. It'd be nice to have some quick easy knits to take with me. So I just got to get past the heel part. So my plan is to kind of try to jump back into this, because it's one I can take to like my son's baseball games or to different activities that we're doing once I get past the heel. But the yarn I'm using for this is my friend Tiffany from the Woolen Homestead. Her Life is the Bubbles colorway. And I really love how it knits up, because especially in this pattern, it kind of makes it look like scales. And so to me, it looks like a mermaid's tail. Another project that I've been working on for a long time, actually the one that I've been working on the longest, that I took a big break from, and I haven't really picked up again since, besides doing, I think I did a couple rows is all, is the Summer Rain Shawl by Leah Tybalt. And it's found in, let's see, issue 22 of my Taproot magazine. You can also find it on Ravelry, I know, but I love my Taproot magazine. So this is how it's supposed to turn out. And I am doing mine in just a Knit Picks green, variegated green. And I think I need to do a bit more. This yarn is super soft and squishy, and I wanted it for spring, but like I said, I've kind of put it away, and I need to revisit it too. I need to stop starting new projects so I can finish old ones, because I really do want to get all these finished and wear them and use them, and so I'm going to be working on that too. That one is in this little tote bag that my mother-in-law's friend made me during my wedding time one time, and I've just started kind of adopting it for craft stuff. So that's what I'm working on too. Let's see what's next. I have not added anything else to my Cozy Memories blanket squares yet, but here shortly, working on these projects, I will have a lot more to add to that. So, and that's in this bag that I made. So that I haven't really done anything with either. Like I said, I really haven't done anything with anything. So let me go get my other stuff here. The next project that I've been working on, that I actually started this one before the last one I'm going to show you, but I got to a stopping point and I kind of wanted to put that one away for a little bit and work on another one, because I'm kind of doing a bunch of shawls. I have 3 shawls going at one time right now, and I need to start getting those finished up because I really would like to cast on a couple sweaters, like for my kids, because I've never made a sweater before, and I'd really like to try working on that because I know it's going to take me a really long time, just because I don't have a lot of time to work on some of those things, and I'd like to have something for them come this winter. So I need to get those cast on. Plus I also have a hat for my husband out of alpaca yarn that he requested me to make. So I'll show you that yarn in a minute too. So this one is the Washed Out Shawl by Joji Locatelli. And this one, I find the ends of my needles here. This one I only got about this far on. I got to like the lace section, which I think I mentioned before. I was really struggling on the lace section because I don't know what my problem is, but I can't count, I guess. And so I was all messed up on my numbers. Just wasn't working out. And I kind of got to the end of that point and I was like, all right, I need to take a break. So those yarns that I'm using are all by my friend Tiffany at the Woolen Homestead. Check her out. She's got a podcast and an Etsy shop, and she's on Instagram also. This one is Blueberry Crumb Cakes. It's the first part of the shawl. It's going to be used by the Woolen Homestead. I really love Tiffany's yarn. She is what kind of got me addicted to some of these really cool speckly colored yarns. She's really, really good at dyeing. Her and her husband are really good at dyeing and coming up with colorways, but this one is Stardust. I love the colors in that one too. So that one will come after this. So it will go Blueberry Crumb Cakes and Stardust. I'm doing it in kind of the faded color. And so then the last one is also hers, and it's Solstice Twilight. And it's got like purples and yellows. It's white. So they'll go side by side like this. And I think they'll turn out really pretty. So this will be the end lacy section. And I'll show you again on the pattern how that's going to look. The way Joji Locatelli's is, so she goes from like a bluish to the blue and purple, and then she has like the white lace at the end. So this is going to be a giant shawl wrap, but I'm super excited about it. I think I'm going to get to the stopping point at my next project, and then go back to work on this one a little bit too, because I really want to wear these. It's one of the bad things. You get so excited. I love the knitting process, but I like the end result, and so I get myself into trouble because I end up casting on too many projects at once, and then I never get anything finished. So it goes against me. So then the last one I'm working on right now is the On the Spice Market shawl by Melanie Berg. And I actually am doing it in the sample colors here. The Miss Babs yarn, Spice yarn set. I got all those. There's a little set with all the little colors in it. So I'm using that. Now, I am currently this far on it, and I love the colors. They're totally my colors, fall inspired colors. And I actually had gotten a lot farther on this, and for some reason I still don't know what I did wrong, but I had exactly 100 stitches more than I should have had, so I royally screwed it up. And so I ripped it all back, and I reread the pattern, and I even watched like someone else's video on doing different things, and I still don't know what I did wrong. So I'm gonna have to take it row by row and count row by row for a while and see where I messed up the last time. So that's kind of why I'm kind of at a stopping point right now. And you know, when you rip something back, you get frustrated with it, and so you really don't want to touch it again. So I kind of want to just put it aside and work on my washed out shawl a little bit for a little while and finish up some of these other small projects that I have, because maybe I need to step away from it so I can think more clearly about it, because yeah, it kind of frustrated me that I had to rip out about like this much of it. So those are the projects I am currently working on. Now my husband wants me to cast on a hat for him, and like I said, my future coming up projects, I don't know what sweaters I want to do yet, but I know that I really want to make a cardigan of some sort for myself, and I have a bunch of ideas in mind, so I just got to decide which one. But I would like to make each of my kids a nice sweater, so I need to decide what I want to do for theirs too, because like I said, I've never made a sweater before, so that's my next step. I also am planning on working on some color work this summer, so I can really kind of get the feel for it. Just some little small projects, so I've never done color work before, and I really want to learn how. So I'm going to do a couple little small projects that I can kind of get my hands used to it, and then I'll be ready to do some more color work projects too. So those are kind of my plans for right now. We have a lot of trips coming up, so I have lots of knitting time, although half the trips it's just gonna be me and the kids, so I'm doing the driving, so I don't get to knit. So then I'll listen to audiobooks. Okay, so a couple books that I wanted to show you is I use Wild Color, and I may have showed you this before, but I use Wild Color for a ton of my dyeing information. It's about foraging and harvesting different things to dye, and it tells you the different colors and things that you can do. So when I did my dandelions, these are the colors. I think I got about this color here on my yarn. I'm hoping to get a little bit more bright like this color this next time. So, but this is a great book if you're looking into starting some natural dyes or trying your hand at it. This tells you everything you need to know. It talks about mordanting, it talks about preparing the yarn, it talks about doing different colors and modifiers, and then in the back it tells you all about different plants and the colors that they could come out as. So this is a great book, and I just wanted to share that with you in case anyone's interested in trying some naturally dyed yarn. And the other book I want to show you is, let's see here, it's called A Perfect Red by Amy Butler Greenfield, and it says it's about empire, espionage, and a quest for the color of desire. It's kind of a historical fiction, and it's based on in the 16th century. It's based off on dyers, people who dyed clothing and cloth, and kind of the history behind that. It has some different paintings and pictures and stuff in here. But I am reading this with a Woolen Forest. You can find her on Instagram, and she is also on Ravelry, and she is doing this as kind of like a book club on Ravelry right now. So I decided I would join in because obviously it's what I'm interested in, and so I thought it would be a fun read. And so I'm doing that also. And I wanted to do the natural dye knit along with a wooden nest, But I have so many projects going on right now that I don't foresee that happening with some of my yarn. So unless I can come up with a project that I can do really quickly with some of my naturally dyed yarn, I just don't have any more projects that I really want to cast on right now. But it's not too late. If you want to join the book club, a Woolen Forest on Ravelry, go join her group and you can join the book club too. Lastly, I just want to share a little bit about what I'm planting in my dye garden this year. And then in this podcast, I'll probably have some little like vlog type video clips of us out in the garden and doing some dye experiments. So you can see those throughout the podcast here or at the end. I don't know where I'm putting them yet, but some of the things I'm planting this year for my dye pots. I plant marigolds every year, and so this year I'm really excited. I planted a whole bunch of them. So I'm hoping to get a whole bunch of flowers out of that for my dye. I'm planting hollyhocks, and I have black-eyed Susans, and I have, Hopi black dye sunflowers. I have indigo seeds, so I'm planted those this year. Let's see. Oh my gosh, now I can't even think off the top of my head. Well, there's a couple other things, but I have a good start for a variety of colors, so I'm really excited about that. Yeah, so it's going to be an exciting spring and summer. I'm going to be very busy because I want to try and harvest and go forage. I'm going to go out to my friend at Does and Divas, hopefully before too long, and go forage for some things on her property. I know she has some nettles and things like that I really want to go get. Another friend of mine, she is giving me an elderberry starter plant, so I'm hoping to get that from her maybe this weekend so I can get it in the ground. That won't actually give me anything until next year, but I'm really excited to start that because I use the elderberries to make syrup and stuff for my children too, for healthcare and medicinal purposes, and then I can also use them for dyeing. So yeah, there's lots of things going on around here right now. I'm kind of anxious we have 2 weeks left of school, and I'm anxious to kind of get done with that because I'm ready to take a little break from working on that. Let the kids, I'm sure they're anxious to take a break too, let them go wild. And so yeah, so that's kind of all I really want to talk about right now. But I'll take you out in the garden and I will show you some video clips of us dyeing and some of the things that we're working on. See you next time.